mention too that a fellow.
This is a guy named Alan Watt. Alan Watt, he knows a lot about stuff in the occult and the system, what's going on. But he said that he had a friend who had a brother-in-law that worked in the CIA, right? And he said, and the brother-in-law would never talk about the CIA. Never talk about it. Except for this one thing he told him. And this is what he told him.
Has been in touch with me for an awful long time. His brother was in the CIA, or is in the CIA. He will never talk about the CIA to him. He'll never give anything away whatsoever. He said one bit of advice. He said, never watch the television. Never watch the television. It's the greatest scientific indoctrination tool ever devised. Haven't you figured that out? It's changed the whole culture of nations, not just one nation. Why do you think it was mandatory that everybody in Britain have access to televisions by the government?
And you think about here when they changed the signal, right? What did they start giving out? The vouchers for you to get the boxes. Remember that? Okay.
During the Obama era, right?
Yeah, that was on your. But they gave out the vouchers so that you can get your box. So they didn't want you to miss your programming. They wanted you to have it. They didn't want you to miss out. Okay?
And China is under the same program to get everyone to the TV right now because they love to have you entertained. Do you really think that?
Yeah, that's the other word we talked about last time. We talked about the word entertainment or entertain, which means to distract. Okay? The Quran, there's a verse in the Quran that talks about the life of this world being nothing but amusement and play. And another word for amusement and play is entertainment. Okay? So Allah is telling us things in this Quran. We got to pay attention to what Allah is telling us. Okay?
And India is on the same route as well right now too. Most of your ideas and your opinions and how you emulate, because you emulate things, you mimic what you see. As Charles Galton, Darwin and others have.
I'll give you an example of what he just said. He said, we emulate or we do what we see. Just like with our children. When you put your toothpaste on your toothbrush, you usually make it long, right? Okay. Now, if you were to read your toothpaste, what does it say? Only use a pea-sized amount, right? But on the television commercials, they loading it up.
Yeah.
Looking like an ice cream cone, right? But that's the thing. We do what we see. We emulate what we see. Okay?
It becomes you become it. And that's what's happened. It's been very, very, very successful. Never.
Here's another one. This guy worked for, I think they said he worked for both, the CIA and the FBI. Alright? But listen to what he says.
That means both of his shoes are phones. Please welcome Philip Mudd. Then became the FBI Senior Intelligence Advisor, and you've got... We don't face an Al-Qaeda group today. We face the remnants of a revolution. A revolution in places like Yemen, Somalia, and what have about that. And now they have an ideology.
Like this video, messed up on me too. But what he said was the same thing. Don't watch television. They keep telling. He said he doesn't have a TV. He doesn't watch television. He said he'd rather read books. He said because television will destroy your mind. Okay.
Well, and I think that the
now, this you have to hear. All right. This is one analyst. Listen to what she said. this.
Edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media, trying to make up his own facts.
And she talking about Trump, all right? Talking about Trump.
B, that while unemployment and the economy worsens, he could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think, and that is our job.
You heard what she said. She said he's trying to control what we think. That's our job. That's the media's job, to control what you think. Okay? Because they can make you believe anything. They can make you believe anything. Okay? Through television programming.
Well, and I think that
from all the Trump supporters that I talk.
A 49-year-old unidentified man with dessert left.
All right. Now, I think we're over the time. Let me show you this. All right.
People to world.
Shotgun 14. A 49-year-old unidentified man with dessert left.
Did she get her people to world?
Shotgun 14 people are dead, including
Who
3
will be her
children.
role model?
It says, where does she get her view of the world? Who are her role models? All right.
Whose will she have? Whose child is she? Yours or the network's? Take back your children. Turn off the TV.
And that's a powerful message. Okay. Yeah. Does the child belong to you or the media? Okay, or to the networks? All right. But this is the type of stuff that's going on. Let me show you this real quick. This guy, his name is Rocky Carroll. You remember him? What show? From The Rock, right? All right. And now he's on NCIS, right? What do you remember about The Rock, that television? What was it about? Anybody know?
He's a garbage man, and he used to collect trash.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. But now, do you know in the Rock series, it's one of the first times they did a gay marriage. Yeah. With Richard Roundtree. Remember Richard Roundtree?
Yeah,
Roundtree.
Shaq.
Hold up, you're right. Shaq did play a gay. Yeah.
Right?
And getting married, you right. Yeah, I bet you, yeah.
Now watch, because they interviewed this guy about that episode. And he says, long before same-sex marriage ruled,
Supreme Court of the United States.
right, it says, or vice versa, Fox's 1991, this was in 1991, family sitcom Rock made history by airing one of television's first gay weddings. Okay? The series followed the traditional family man, Charles S. Dutton, and his life in Baltimore. But in the season 1 episode, Can't Help Loving That Man, the show became much more than its simple logline when it introduced Rock's gay Uncle Russell, played by Shaft actor Richard Roundtree. Okay?
Yeah, I don't
and
know that
presented
one
a wedding between him and his male partner.
That made me look at him altogether different.
A far cry from what the rest of television was showing in 1991. All right? But now watch this. They were interviewing Rocky Carroll, and he said, this is what he says. Whatever impact the episode had, we played from our strong suit, and our strong suit was comedy. We were all of the belief, and I still believe, that you can change minds and change hearts through laughter faster than you can any other way. All right? If you can appeal to another person's sense of humor, you can introduce ideas, thoughts, things that they may disagree with or not believe in. Okay? At least they'll listen. And I think that's kind of where we were at the time of this episode. We knew we were funny enough that we could take a very real scenario and introduce it and not shine a light on it in a way that people would back away from it. But we could incorporate it within the humor of our show, not to poke fun at it in any sense. And I also think another bold move on the part of the producers and the writers was that we cast Richard Roundtree in the 1970s, his movie career. He was Shaft. He was the epitome of a man's man. He played our uncle who happened to be gay. I think we were doing a lot of things, but we didn't want to hit you over the head with a sledgehammer with the fact that it was just a part of this particular fictional family's life. And that's how they do it with television. Through comedy, through drama. They get to change the hearts and the minds of people in terms of how they view things and how they look at things. Look at what he said there. He said, through comedy, you can appeal to another person's sense of humor. You can introduce ideas, thoughts, and things that they may disagree with or not believe in. All right? And this is what they did with the show Will and Grace and all of that stuff. A lot of shows introduce these ideas to us through comedy. But through drama too, because they get to your emotions.
Well, it's so, like you said, it's so like, don't run down, push that, it's like on every channel.
Mm-hmm. What? Bombarded.
Yeah, bombarded.
Right.
Bombarded.
It's like...
Bombarded, all right?
Every day, I'll tell you, it's sickening.
But now, let me see. I think I might be able to get through this real quick. Let's see. Try to get to this real quick because I want you to see just how powerful this programming is.
1993.
Well, you gotta see this. All right, you ever see this before? This is a clip from the movie A Long Kiss Goodnight. Okay, but listen to what they said in it.
World Trade Center bombing, remember? During the trial, one of the bombers claimed CIA had advanced knowledge. The diplomat who received the terrorist visa was CIA. It's not unthinkable they paved the way for bombing, purely to justify budgeting this.
You're telling me that you're going to fake some terrorist thing just to get some money out of Congress?
Well, unfortunately, Mr. Hennessy, I have no idea how to fake killing 4,000 people. So we're just going to have to do it for real. Well, blame it on Muslims, naturally. Then,
see that?
Good night, old girl.
This was 1996.
Oh, really?
1996. He said, we'll blame it on the Muslims. We'll have a terrorist attack and we'll blame it on the Muslims. And you gotta be very careful with the movies. Because when certain movies, they're telling you things in the movies. That's just like some of these movies you see, and they were dealing with stuff in the past, and these things came true. Right, came to fruition. Okay? It happened. All right.
1993. World Trade Center bombing.
Roosevelt, whose family had...
Tonight, this is another... Tonight, America on track for its...
Because I'm just going to show you the power program. All right? Now watch this. This is an NBC story. Okay?
A break in 20...
And they were talking about the measles outbreak. Okay? Now, one of the things that I was thinking about, I was like, wait a minute. I don't think that there's this big breakout. I think what they're trying to do is to get people not to opt out of getting the shots. Okay? They want people to have these shots. And they don't want you to be able to opt out of them. Alright? But then watch.
90 more cases in just 1 week. Public health officials doing all they can to urge Americans to vaccinate their children, offering free clinics, declaring states of emergency.
this anti-vax movement has proven to be very dangerous.
Officials are fighting the persistent but widely debunked myths circulating on social media, falsely linking vaccines to everything from seizures to autism. Not far from the epicenter of the nation's largest outbreak in the New York region, Nurse Melody Butler is trying to convince anxious parents.
I know how susceptible people can be. Hi, my name is Melody Butler.
She knows because she herself was once afraid of getting the flu vaccine when she was pregnant with her third child. The things you had initially seen online, they seem legit.
They did. They did. And even as a nurse, I was taken for a ride by them.
We need everyone to become a vaccine champion.
She's now on a mission to fight the myths, founding Nurses Who Vaccinate. Number one myth is autism.
Yes.
What is the argument they make and what's the counter argument?
So the argument they make is that the vaccines given at 1 year age cause autism, but we have so much evidence showing that autism signs and symptoms can actually be present from birth.
And there's no link to vaccination?
Absolutely not.
Some parents worry even if vaccines don't cause autism, they have too many chemicals.
And what I usually tell them is I inform them there's more aluminum present in breast milk than there is in the vaccine your child's going to get.
One nurse trying to spread the truth and save lives.
I work with mothers who've lost their children to vaccine-preventable diseases. I'm doing everything I can to prevent another family from suffering the death of a child or from lifelong suffering.
All right, back in the studio now with Dr. John Torres. If someone has had the vaccine, but they're in a high-risk area, should they get a booster?
Well, Lester, if you got 2 MMR vaccines as a child, or even as an adult, then you're fully immunized against measles and you don't need a booster. But if you're not sure whether you might have only gotten 1 shot or maybe not any, there's no harm in getting a booster to make sure, but check with your doctor first, just to be sure.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe.
This is another example of none of us.
You just saw a news clip from NBC, all right? But now, let's look at it, analyze. This guy, well, another guy looked at this and saw some things in it, all right? And then this guy, he took it a little further. He was able to add some more information to it. I want you to see this now, because we just watched that whole thing, right? But now watch.
All of us. Hats off again to A Call for an Uprising. If you haven't checked out his channel, he's got some excellent content that you should really take a look at. If you go over there, tell him High Impact Flicks or High Impact Vlog sent you. But I want you to watch this, and I want to build off of what he said in his video. I have some things to add to it that I think you'll find very, very interesting. Listen to this from NBC.
Tonight, America on track for its worst measles outbreak in 25 years. 90 more cases in just 1 week. Public health officials doing all they can to urge Americans to vaccinate their children, offering free clinics, declaring...
Before I move along, I want you...
Did you see this picture before? You ever saw that picture before?
You mean before today?
Yeah, before today. Did you see it today?
Yeah, they just showed it.
Right here.
On
that first story.
Yeah, right.
No, before that. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember.
You did?
I thought I did.
Oh, okay.
Ain't that the same picture?
Yeah. Oh, they put the
Photoshop those measles on.
Get out of here.
Right.
Oh, stop playing.
That's why the guy warned. He said, never watch television because they can indoctrinate you. They can make you believe anything.
Right,
All right. But now watch me continue the story.
This right here one more time.
America on track for its worst measles outbreak
worst measles outbreak, and then they put this image in front of you. Now, if you go to Google and you type in doctor holding baby, you're going to get this particular stock image right here. It's the exact image that you see right here, minus the supposed measles. And I want you to look at the Photoshop job. See this little print right here? It almost looks like a chipmunk paw print. It's the exact same print. It's not only a Photoshop job, it's a horrible Photoshop job. I mean, what are the chances?
See, the purpose of this is to get the public to turn against people that want to opt out of vaccinations.
Right.
So they're trying to get the public support. All right? But check it out.
This exact print being here, and here, and here, and here, and right here. It's the exact same print, but this is a dreamstime.com like stock photo that was also used by the Times of Israel for this article entitled Top
Israel used it too.
Oh, come on, man.
in Jerusalem, and first such incident in 15 years. Now I'm going to continue on with this NBC news story. They say it's a news story, but check this out. Just watch really close what they do.
25 years, 90 more cases in just 1 week. Public health officials doing all they can to urge Americans to vaccinate their children.
Urge Americans to vaccinate. Public health officials. Okay, so this is official. Somebody with authority, somebody with medical knowledge is urging you to get vaccinated. So you've got the government who wants you vaccinated. You've got mainstream media who wants you vaccinated. You've got big pharma who wants you vaccinated. You've got medical professionals who want you and urge you to get vaccinated. Gotta get vaccinated, guys.
And what if some of you might not know, they had taken some vaccines to Africa. And they were given, they went them to vaccinate their children and all that stuff, and found out that it contained chemicals that make them sterile. Okay? Reduce, because they want to reduce population. They didn't know that.
New clinics declaring states of emergency.
This anti-vax movement has proven to be very dangerous.
Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services.
Officials are fighting the persistent but widely debunked myths circulating.
Officials are fighting these widely debunked myths.
Circulating on social media, falsely linking vaccines to everything from seizures to autism.
They have the gall to say falsely after they just used this iStock image where they put a bunch of Photoshop measles all over this baby who supposedly, according to the Times of Israel, died.
Not far from the epicenter of the nation's largest outbreak in the New York region, Nurse Melody Butler is trying to convince anxious parents.
I know how susceptible people can be. Hi, my name is Melody Butler.
She knows because she herself was once afraid of getting the flu vaccine when she was pregnant with her third child. The things you had initially seen online, they seem legit.
They did. They did. And even as a nurse, I was taken for a ride by them. We need everyone to become a vaccine champion.
She's now on a mission to fight the myths, founding Nurses Who Vaccinate. Number one myth is autism.
Yes.
What is the argument they make and what's the counter-argument?
So the argument they make...
If you want to find out what the argument...
Think about what he says here. If you have two opposing sides, you hear one person's side, and then you hear the other person's side, right? How is she going to get both opposing, get her side and the opposing people's side? Check it out.
On the other side of it, then you interview, as a journalist, you interview the other side. You don't ask this woman to give you both sides. That's dishonest, so-called journalism.
Is that the vaccines given at 1 year age cause autism, but we have so much evidence showing that autism signs and symptoms can actually be present from birth.
And there's no link to vaccination.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Stay tuned. You're going to see a totally different story in a second.
Some parents worry, even if vaccines don't cause autism, they have
Now watch this very, very closely. See these vials right here?
too many chemicals.
See that name right there? What's that name? That's Merck. Stay tuned. That's going to be very important coming up.
What I usually tell them is I inform them there's more aluminum present in breast milk than there is in the vaccine your child's going to get.
That's very dishonest. There's going to be aluminum in breast milk if the mother consumed aluminum. If she didn't, then there's not going to be any aluminum present in breast milk. How would it get in the breast milk unless the mother ingested it? But you can be assured that you're going to get aluminum, thimerosal, and other preservatives in your vaccine.
Leaders trying to spread the truth and save lives.
Spread the truth. NBC knows nothing about the truth.
I work with mothers who've lost their children to vaccine-preventable diseases. I'm doing everything I can to prevent another family from suffering the death of a child or from lifelong suffering.
All right, back in the studio now with Doug.
Okay, now watch this. See this in the background? What do we have here? Merck. Merck. You know what this is right here, guys? Let's just listen to this medical professional and this NBC corporate puppet Let's hear what they say.
Dr. John Torres, if someone has had the vaccine but they're in a high-risk area, should they get a booster?
Well, Lester, if you got 2 MMR vaccines as a child or even as an adult, then you're fully immunized against measles and you don't need a booster. But if you're not sure whether you might have only gotten 1 shot or maybe not any, there's no harm in getting a booster to make sure.
No harm, no harm.
But check with your doctor first, just to be sure.
NBC News.
Okay, now watch this. I'm going to just back this up for a second. Merck. We saw Merck before. We saw Merck 3 times. Watch this. This is a website called Mad as Hell Boycott. And they went through the trouble to show you what NBC's advertiser list is, who actually advertised for NBC. Let's just check this out. Top, Merck. Let's just thumb through some more here. Janssen, Perk Blood Thinner. This is Big Pharma. Celgene, Medicine, Big Pharma. Eli Lilly, Big Pharma. Eli Lilly, Big Pharma. Pfizer, Procter & Gamble, Bayer. Let's go down here to 52, Merck. HPV vaccination by Merck. This NBC news show was a commercial for Merck. It was a commercial for Big Pharma. You gotta be vaccinated. Keep your children safe. Keep your community safe. You must be vaccinated. The government tells us we gotta be vaccinated. Corporate media tells us we gotta be vaccinated. Do you really trust them after they lied to you by showing you this baby who's photoshopped? Now I want to show you part of a video that I did, just a couple minutes of a video that I did about 2 or 3 years ago on this channel. Listen to this. Science directed for profit and population control by the military, medical, petrochemical, pharmaceutical cartel in conjunction with the United States government under the guise of improving health and saving lives. One can't escape what even statist Ronald Reagan recognized were the 9 most terrifying words in the English language.
I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
And then there's this undated news report that aired back when reporters were actually concerned with broadcasting true journalism to their viewers. In these clips, you'll hear that not only are the vaccines ineffective in treating the diseases of those who get the shots, the researchers who actually developed the flu vaccines during the 1960s wouldn't even give them to their own families. Subsequently, 2 were transferred to other work and a 3rd left the division. Check this out.
Last month, a Senate subcommittee headed by Abraham Murdoch charged that the federal government wasn't doing a good enough job of informing the public about ineffective vaccines.
Scientists at the Division of Biologic Standards test vaccines for their potency and safety before licensing them for public use. However, the division does not determine the effectiveness of the vaccine. That is left to the manufacturers. A case in point is the influenza vaccine. 4 scientists in charge of work on the flu vaccine during the 1960s found it to be ineffective, said they refused to give it to their own families. 2 were transferred to other work, a 3rd left the division. And over the entire 10-year period, not one word of their unfavorable findings was allowed to be published. A more serious case involving the relationship between the leaders of the division and their scientists involves the adenovirus vaccine, a vaccine given to thousands of American soldiers to prevent certain cold-like symptoms. When it was shown that the vaccine contained a contaminant which caused cancer in laboratory animals, it was taken off the market. That was 3 years after the division's own scientists had pointed out the danger. Dr. Murray justifies the use of the vaccine by saying it took 3 years.
He said, left it on the market